Welcome, curious wanderers, to Skeleton Sam's Ghosts of Theatreland.
Yes, I do want to talk to your boss. I have just seen the amount that's gone out for this month's rent. Now, your firm agreed we'd have a reduced rent on account of the repairs needed for the theatre space and...
This payment was towards the money you previously owed in the last property.
Mr. Ramon?
You did look at the contract.
No. That was Andi.
Well, I own plenty of properties around London, and as a member of a more noble class of society, it's my duty to ensure that plebs like yourself keep folks like me better off.
You can see why the French Revolution happened.
I'll expect rental payment first thing of each month, followed by a share of any potential box office made in this theatre of yours. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to play golf with my standing MP.
Wasn't that the MP convicted for embezzling taxpayers' money on? Welcome, my theatrical ghouls and macabre spectators. I'm Skeleton Sam, your host for this episode. Each week, we're going to be exploring theatres that have gained a reputation in the housing of souls still clinging to this mortal coil. Tell me, are you excited to be here? This week, we will be travelling to Melbourne, Australia, to the Princess Theatre, that's home to paranormal phenomena. Anyway, can we get on with travelling to Australia? We've wasted enough time as it is.
Oh, very well. If we're gonna take the fun out of afterlife. Charlie chats to cheeky chick cheerily chucking clocks. Ah, 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 boom, boom.
Good day, and welcome to the city of Melbourne, in the Victorious state of Australia. Home to the Aboriginal Australian people roughly 40,000 years ago. It, like the rest of the country, was colonised by the British, who set up dispersing the indigenous peoples. And in 1835, the city of Melbourne was founded. Less than 2 decades later, the performing arts scene began to flourish, thanks in large part due to the discovery of gold fields within the region of Victoria that created within a short time a mighty gold rush, making small fortunes, and very quickly in 1854, the Astley Amphitheatre was constructed to take advantage of the fact that many patrons would have extra income to spend in enjoying live entertainment.
In 1857, the amphitheatre was extensively renovated and the facade extended, reopening on 16th April as the Princess's Theatre and Opera House. This continued to operate in the same format for several decades, where very quickly the theatre began to become outdated and run down, until the year 1885, when the venue came under the control of Theatrical impresarios and entrepreneurs J.C. Williamson, George Musgrove, and Arthur Garner.
They set about a painstaking restoration of up to £50,000. This is roughly over £8 million in today's money. They designed it in the exuberant Second Empire style, featuring state-of-the-art electrical stage lighting, as well as Australia's first sliding or retractable roof and ceiling, which provided ventilation from the auditorium. The marble staircase and grand foyers were hailed as equal to that of the Paris Opera and the Frankfurt Stade and the Grand in Bordeaux.
The theatre continued to operate of the next century, passing through different owners and being a hub for national and international touring companies. Until, like all things, it soon struggled with changing times, and by the early 1970s began to fall into disrepair.
It wasn't until 1986 when the ownership fell into the hands of Australian property developer David Mariner, who commenced a renovation and refurbishment to restore the building to its 1922 state and improve on its technical capacity. The refurbished theatre opened on the 9th of December 1989 with the musical premiere of Les Miserables, followed by the Phantom of the Opera, which established a new record for the longest running show ever staged in Victoria. The Princess Theatre continues to be owned and operated by the Mariner Group as a venue for major musical theatre touring productions, including Beauty and the Beast, Mamma Mia, Jersey Boys and The Book of Mormon.
I wish we lived in the mid-1800s. I'd be charging people by the weight of gold.
Yeah, we might do once we get the time machine back off H.G. Wells.
Remind me, why did you let him borrow it?
Well, he said he'd add me in his will to get the royalties for War of the Worlds.
Didn't that enter the public domain years ago?
Moving on. So, the Princess Theatre has continued to be in service to the general public to the present day. Of course, with such a lengthy history, a site like this has attracted claims of paranormal phenomena. We'll touch on this after a quick break. Like other theatres we've looked at it in series, the Princess Theatre has gained a reputation in the housing of a permanent otherworldly resident. Audience members report odd lights flashing on and off during theatre performances. Stagehands and artists describe feeling something brushing past them in empty corridors. The ghost believed to haunt this venue is that of Victorian comic opera performer Federici. Born in Florence, Italy, a place I really want to go on holiday, Frederick Baker was a British-Italian actor that initially worked as a talent agent before taking on a career within the performing arts, where he took the name Frederick Federici. Federici had a decent start as an opera singer/performer, but very quickly was forced to join the armed forces in order to avoid paying the debts he owed to his financial creditors. After leaving the army, he returned to the stage and, from 1879 to 1887, he toured extensively in Gilbert and Sullivan's comic operas with the D'Oyly Carte Opera Company. His roles included the Pirate King from The Pirates of Penzance, appearing in the opera's first performance in 1879. He also played, among other roles, Captain Corcoran in HMS Pinafore, apologies if I mispronounce the name, Colonel Calverley in Patience, Strephon in Ailanfi, and Florian in Princess Ida. He appeared in the title role of the Mikado and as Sir Roderick in Radigor, in the first authorised American production of these works.
In 1887, Frederici decided to move to Australia and performed in the first showing of the play Princess Ida in Australia, in Princess Theatre. A year later, he decided to perform in an opera named Faust. In this opera, Dr. Faustus feels that he has wasted his life, and so he sells his soul to a devil named Mephistopheles in order to make him young again. Baker was to play the part of Mephistopheles. It is said that before he went onto stage, he said,
"I will give a fine performance tonight, but it will kill me."
During the final of the opera, in which Mephistopheles descends back into hell, taking with him the unlucky Dr. Faustus, Federici would lower down through the stage via a trapdoor into a basement below the stage. As this happened, it is presumed that due to a combination of heart problems and being overwhelmed by the play, he suffered a heart attack. He was dead by the time he was at the bottom of the cellar.
After the play had finished, the director told the rest of the cast what had happened. The cast was confused by this, since they had just seen Federici bow to the audience along with the rest of them. It wasn't long before sightings of Federici's ghost began to be spotted by the theatre's staff and patrons, especially when the play was taking place. Witnesses said that his ghost appears as a tall figure of a good-looking man in full evening dress, with black hair slightly greying at the temples. Usually, he sits around the centre of the second or third row of the theatre's dress circle. Sometimes he changes seats to watch the faces of the critics. Some say they have observed the Italian actor frowning at the weak performances of inferior actors, taking notes and even brushing his hair back with impatient gestures when he's displeased. Eventually, the ghost glides through the boxes, disappearing down the stairs behind the royal box. To this day, on every opening night, a seat in the dress circle at the Princess Theatre is left empty for Federici. It is a good luck sign if his ghost appears, as he can also often be seen in the dressing rooms, wearing more than one outfit. He may even stare at the stage as if he is about to go on and perform himself. So, if you find yourself at the Princess Theatre in Melbourne, Australia, keep your eyes peeled in the dress circle, as you might come face to face with Frederick Federici. Don't be afraid to send us your strange paranormal experiences in the Princess Theatre or in any other theatre or performance venue in Australia. Email skeleton.sam.theatricalghoul@gmail.com, all lowercase, with your name and heading saying "My Paranormal Experience." Now, before we end this, we just have another thing to sort out. Andi, Mick,
Yes, boss?
got Ramon's watch?
Yep. Wasn't easy.
Karloff, you got the ingredients for Annie? Yeah. Have you got them? Good. Try to charge me double rent for a crappy building, will you? All I can say is, if you find yourself on a golf course in the middle of nowhere and far from the nearest toilet, best not to wear white trousers. Prepare the spell.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so high, nearly reach the sky. Then, like my dreams, they fade and die. Fortune's always hiding. I've looked everywhere. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. Fortune's always hiding. I've looked everywhere. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles.